All right, it says I'm live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over the world. Dobson 777A here. I just realized my hair is all mussed up. I guess it was when I was out there in the garden. Picked a bunch of strawberries, kind of weeding. It's like a continuous thing. I kind of spend, I keep the front garden, since it's in the front yard, I keep that weeded pretty good. But had my tomatoes, they were kind of growing outside the baskets. And yeah, I'm still using those wire baskets like 3 years later, even though I told you don't get all bent out of shape when people give you a hard time about those baskets. I still use them because they're just easy. Later you can advance to something you make yourself or whatever. There's so many gardeners, they try to make these contraptions, and they probably work better. But this isn't, I'm not trying to do something that I'm selling stuff. This is just for my own use. And I don't even get out there and, prune the stuff or anything until things just kind of get out of control. So it's more than I can eat most of the time. But anyways, I was out there looking at my squash that I planted about a month ago. And remember, I started some of this stuff in seed. So the plants now are probably over 3 feet tall. And I see zucchini and yellow squash, or summer squash they call it, that are probably in the next couple days. Those are going to be harvested, and I'm going to try to keep on top of it next time, or this time, because remember last year I had some zucchinis that, no kidding, were like that big, and it's just because I forgot about them. And those things grew up like watermelons, so they're doing great. I did plant 3 rows of like the Three Sisters garden. Got some cow manure, set a bag of cow manure, and kind of made a mound and planted 6 stalks of corn, or 6 seeds. And then I put 1 spaghetti squash, 1, what was it called? Sunflower, and then 1 of the butternut squash plant. So I've still got 9 more rows. I think I have to get 9 more bags of manure to do the lower level, and then I got to start watering and get that stuff growing up. But that's going really good. And I've got some Rhode Island red chicks that I've been doing some videos, and I had to put that together for you. And they started jumping out of the pen because I had them divided away from my meat chicks, and they were jumping up and running all over the place. So I had to put a screen over the top to keep them contained. So it's been quite interesting trying to keep ahead of all of this stuff. Hey, Edgewater, I did want to let you know, I was having some troubles with washing machine. I've got those front end loader washing machine, and I was getting these codes that were spitting out, and it's like the pump was running all the time. I can't remember what the code was, but I initially was able to fix it by unplugging in and waiting a few minutes and plugging it back in, and that what would happen is the door would stay locked. You couldn't get the thing unlocked because it thought that there was still a substantial amount of water in there. So eventually I said, all right, I got to fix this. I mean, the things are only 4 years old. When I bought this house, I bought brand new appliances. And so I'm like, why the heck am I having this trouble? So I did some research, and I found out you got to pull this, I think it's like a duet, a Whirlpool duet. You got to pull it out, which these front end loaders, they're heavier. I'm going to not say a bad word. They're heavier than heck. So I slid it out, got behind the thing. You take off the back cover, and way down on the bottom, there's actually a little thing you got to turn, and you pull out, and it's where the drain water comes down. There's a small little screen on there. You got to clean that out. And then you put the thing back together, put all the screws back in. There's probably a dozen screws you got to do. And lo and behold, that kind of seemed to fit it. But I said, well, I got this out. I'm going to go ahead and clean the dryer vent. So I took that thing off, and I was like, oh, crap. This thing is really, really clogged up after 4 years. So I took the thing outside, and I was blowing it out, and of course getting dust all over you. And then I had one of these long rods with the bristle thing on it, and I was going through that, and I was taking my blower and blowing it out and trying to blow it in the woods instead of on top of me. Then I came back in and I said, okay, if that's all screwed up, then going outside the house is kind of the same thing. So I was taking the blower and trying to blow it through that way, and I had someone outside reaching in there to try to pull this stuff out. And unfortunately, when they reached in there was a wasp nest, and so they got stung, and so that was kind of screwed up. So I went out there the next day and kind of looked around, and they must have knocked the nest down because there wasn't any nest anymore. And I was cleaning it from the outside and also the inside. And then you also, most people don't know this, but you know, the little screen thing that you pull out in the front of the dryer, you got to remove a couple screws on that so that you can get in there. And then you take the extension wand on your vacuum cleaner and you vacuum out the front of that. And I was surprised how much stuff was down in there too. So this ended up being a big ordeal, but I put it all back together again, and I can see tremendous airflow now. So that was probably near a fire for the dang dryer, because they tell you that's one of the things that can cause a hell of a fire, because I was surprised how clogged up that stuff is. So I don't know if this is something we're supposed to do a yearly maintenance, but that was a royal pain in the butt, let me tell you right now. So I kind of got that all done. So I just talked for a good 5 minutes there. I thought I'd have more to talk about, but I also got 4 one-year-old chicks, of some of them that I started from eggs last year. If you remember, I was doing that at the beginning of the year. One of my friends decided he just had too many, and so I went and picked up 4 hens from him, because my hens are getting older. So my chicks are still going to be probably 3 months away before they start laying. So I got 4 younger ones, and boy, are they laying. They're laying like crazy. It's a huge difference when you get some younger hens. So eventually, in about 3 or 4 months, I'll be thinning my herd of these older hens, and I should be sitting pretty for eggs for a while. I mean, I'm now back up to, I think my chickens were molting was part of the problem. My egg production had fallen way off, but my hens are probably 3 years old, which is way longer than you should be trying to keep them. Hey, Linda Compton. Brad and Anakuma, I think chickens are very easy to take care of, to tell you the truth. Extremely easy. You know what? I think I'll put together a video and just show you that the biggest thing is just set up some kind of housing for them. I have a pretty secure area so that they're safe at night. The only thing I don't have that I'm thinking about building, and that would actually be a good video because I've researched it. I want to have like an automatic door opener for the hens, so that I don't have to go out there, you know, dark 30 in the morning and late at night to lock them up. But that's what I've been doing. Kind of gives me a chance to check on everybody anyways. So yeah, the chickens are they're actually a lot of fun. And my chickens I've had for such a long time. It's funny, whenever I go collect eggs, you know, the hens, they'll kind of raise hell a little bit, but most of them, they'll just coo at you. They go, oh, it's just him, no big deal. But the rooster always kind of comes in and checks and makes sure everything's okay, but he's never aggressive with me. It's just funny. But he keeps an eye on everybody. The new 4 hens that I have, they're about a year old. They haven't really quite ventured out of the chicken coop yet. They don't quite understand what's going on, and all these other hens, there's a pecking order, so they kind of get beat up. But anyways, it'd be interesting to kind of show some of this, how I introduce things. And I've got one really broody hen. She doesn't lay anymore. She just likes to sit on the eggs all the time, but she's so sweet. I don't care. I'm getting plenty of eggs. I mean, you think about it. If you get, maybe I'm averaging 6 a day, that's 42 eggs a week. That is a ton of eggs. I always boil up like 22, 24 at a time. And I mean, we have it as kind of a snack instead of having chips. I almost said chicks. So anyways, I was looking at the charts, and I noticed that over the past 60 days, gold and silver have been just marching upwards. It looks like gold was like at 1,700 and it's up 1,903 right now, almost 1,904. Silver had dropped all the way down to $24 and now it's up to $28. So both of these are making pretty nice moves, and that's really nice. It's really nice watching that. And I'm still kind of watching, inflation, deflation, stagflation, all that kind of stuff. And I just keep seeing more inflation than anything. And I'm watching housing prices because I'm kind of curious, are we going to Are we going to see any drop in housing prices yet? But there's a very uh, minimal amount of inventory of homes available right now, which that's going to create problems with pricing for increased pricing. If there's supply and demand, if there's no supply, we probably have a lot of demand. So we'll see. Yeah, the Basel III thing is also continuing to march forward. So it looks like we're well positioned here. I like the real estate position. I like the precious metals. I like the miners, and we'll just have to see. Now, I will tell you, over the past 60 days, I did do a chart on this as well. Um, Gold is up 13.4%. Silver's up 17.15%. GDX, our large gold miners, up nearly 24%, and large silver miners are up 26%. It's like 25.8. I'm just rounding up here. So that's 60 days. It looks like things are starting to really heat up on the metals, and so the miners are they're kind of doubling up there, which is great. We're seeing the leverage on the miners. But anyways, man, I feel exhausted today. I don't know. Maybe I just been going. I don't know why I feel so exhausted. Had to get out there and mow the lawn today. We've been getting quite a bit of rain lately, and that means you can't always get out there and mow because it takes a while for it to dry out. Otherwise, it just clumps everything up. Yeah, a lot of the wood mills and stuff, they're not expanding. They're like, hey, we kind of like the prices, and they got burnt last time they had cranked everything up because the prices collapsed. So they're not in a big hurry to go off and do it. I think another big opportunity is in chips, IC chips, because they've got these restrictions on Chinese companies. And so a lot of the IC manufacturers are now trying to ramp up to meet the demand for the car manufacturers and everything. And so there might be an opportunity there. The big names out there might be something to look at. Probably going to make a smoothie. I picked a bunch of strawberries, and I did this about a week ago. I've got this recipe. All recipes or something. I forget where I found it. It was a fairly simple, but I kind of looked across several of them and I combined a couple of recipes. I don't know if you ever made smoothies, but we've got these little ones, blenders that are about this tall that you can put like onions and stuff and chop it up. I usually make my salsa using that thing, but I'd stick the strawberries in, I'd get that blended up, and then off the top of my head, it's like a couple teaspoons of vanilla. You put that in the vanilla liquid stuff that you get from the store. Put a couple teaspoons, I think, of sugar, and then it seemed like there was a couple teaspoons or tablespoons of peanut butter, and that kind of thickens it up a little bit. And then obviously, I have an ice crusher on my refrigerator, so I kind of get the crushed ice first, and then I put that in, and then I chop it up some more with the blender. And I'm telling you what, that comes out fantastic. I would, rather than going off of my recipe, I would look it up because this is off the top of my head from a week ago, but I probably should do a video on that too. But that's a really nice, refreshing treat. And a lot of these strawberries, when you have a garden like I have, you have varying degrees of ripeness when they come out. So a lot of times when I pick them, I just use them right away. Yeah, I think that's right. I think it is called a bullet. You're right. I've also got one of those things that has like a wand on it, and it's got a spinny thing on the bottom where you could do that in a glass if you wanted to. But I've always just liked that bullet thing. It kind of contains everything. Oh, I took care of the person that got stung. Got the full treatment. Busy times. Yeah, we kind of actually had a potentially emergency. We were concerned that person was going to go to anaphylactic shock, and so we did the EpiPen and all that stuff, and uh, didn't do it right. You're supposed to do it in the side of the leg instead of the top of the leg, but trying to read all about, the instructions and do it. It's quite, so now I know exactly what you're supposed to do and all that. But so I got 5 rental properties, and it seems like in general you're going to have problems with 1 out of 5. And when I looked at the national average, that's kind of the way it's been working, especially with this COVID and everything else. So yeah, there's still a problem with one of the properties, but I have a court date at the end of the month, and they'll be tossed on their head. And I'm going to be able to tell you some more about it because I learned some other things about bad checks and things that you can do about that. So collection agencies, all that, I'm going to be able to tell you the whole story when this thing gets through. But you never know, man. The courts have really leaned towards the renters lately, and so I don't hold my breath anymore. We just work it to what the rules say, and we'll see how it pans out. But the rest of them I have very good, very, very excellent tenants, and I typically have really good luck. I mean, like I said, I've been renting pretty much since 1984. So yeah, this year I had a tenant that had been there 4 years left, and I had last year I had one that had been there 4 years and left. So I have some pretty long ones. Most of them have been there about 2 years or so. So I'd still say it's a great way to do it. And remember, with a business, all your expenses come out first before your income. So when you are trying to work through this, it's not always a problem when they're not paying. It just means less income, and you still got to pay the bills and everything. So, but all these other expenses come out. I'll be able to tell you a lot more about this when it's all done. Good time for rehab. Well, I don't know. So a lot of the costs are so high. It's ridiculous of the materials and everything else. I'm so glad I did all of my renovations and everything years ago. I don't know if you heard that. That's like my text thing where it's a bottle cap being popped off. Sometimes it's too quiet. All right, so we got Greg Steinberg's in the house. We can start now. Everybody ought to start feeling kind of excited. I mean, we're back up to 1,900, and by the way, we did that $200 in 2 months. That's $100 a month. So we, maybe by the end of June we're going to be 2,000 here. We'll see. Oh my God, $8 for a 2x4. Was that pressure treated? Or was it that spruce stuff? Man, I'll tell you. Do you remember 2 years ago when I built my shed? I had to clear all of my property for a driveway, and I cut down all kinds of pine and oak and everything, and I ended up having a sawmill come pick up my logs, and then they actually milled them for me, and then I made my shed from that. I had to make like 1 inch thick, 12-inch wide, like 13 feet long or something, planks, and I had to make a bunch of 2x4s and everything, and we built the whole shed. Now that thing ended up heavier than hell because this was dimensional lumber, and it wasn't that spruce stuff. This was heavy heck of a shed. And I even had to come back and do some reinforcement on the supports on the bottom because it was like sinking into my asphalt. So I had to cut some, 1/4-inch steel metal plates and put them under the supports so that it would spread the weight out. Oh my God, 10-foot 4x4 is $36. That's incredible. $70 for a sheet of plywood. Yeah, I don't know how builders are going to be able to do it. That's the only thing that could, obviously stop new construction. But anybody that's got a home, man, I tell you, your home prices probably going up. But I still am concerned that, eventually there's a price point people won't pay. And when they stop paying, the prices will start collapsing. I wouldn't say collapsing, start slowing down and potentially reversing and coming down. And then what happens is people like, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe these aren't as valuable as we thought. And they stop buying completely because they don't want to overpay. And so it becomes this death spiral. So that's what you got to watch out for. And I got a feeling, and I did see an article, I think it was on Zero Hedge, talking about, don't forget, we had a whole bunch of people lost their jobs, and these COVID restrictions are now stopping. And so you're going to have short sales, foreclosures, all this stuff coming up. And so a lot of houses are probably going to be released on the market. And so the inventory may go up. We'll see. It's complex. It's really complex. I think I did a video and I got a lot of grief. It was probably a year and a half ago where I said, I really think housing prices are going to go up 4 to 8 times by the end of this decade. And I said, it's going to pretty much track gold and silver anyways. And people are like, no way, it's going to, if the whole world ends or whatever. And I said, well, everybody thinks the world's going to end. It never really ends. So we end up with tough times. And again, it's a tangible asset. And I saw some numbers where real estate is something like 22% year to date or something. And I think that mimics in the REZ for the rental one, that it's up like 22% or something year to date. Huge increase for an ETF. So that's kind of telling you that something unusual is occurring. And I think real estate is going to be a big player right along. Now, a lot of people, they're going to say, yeah, but you have all these other carrying costs with real estate and everything. But it's different if it's rental. It's different if it's rental because you can use the leverage if you have a mortgage and stuff. So I prefer to have the mortgages because the bank is actually holding the risk, and I just want the doggone, call it mailbox money. I just want that mailbox money rolling in, and hopefully the government will stay out of the way, and we'll see. We're going to find out soon, maybe in the fall, if they're going to, tighten the screws on us again, throw another more deadly thing. Have you noticed now that they're coming out and say, yeah, this thing is very likely lab created. In fact, I saw a report where these scientists now have said, yeah, there's no way in hell this happened naturally. There's like 6 spliced, genes or something. I'm not an expert in all this. And they said there's nothing in nature that has something like this. So that's why they started announcing in advance, because they knew this paper was coming out. So then the question is, was it intentionally released? Was it accidentally released? We don't know. But, from the beginning, we all knew this was not normal. So, they tried to knock out the weakest of us. And the question is, are they going to go selectively now going after folks? We'll find out. It's a very, very disconcerting what I see happening in the world right now. Just very disconcerting. It's really driving a lot of people insane. The stress level they're putting on people is, beyond the breaking point. And so you got to be strong, folks. I always try to have a very positive attitude. I always am trying to have a list of things that I need to do every day. And it's not just, things like I want to go out to eat or something. No, it's about putting things forward for the future. So I constantly am trying to model the fact that I've got a garden and I'm going to keep doing my garden. Now, whether I take advantage of every bit of it or not, I don't know, but I've always given a bunch of it away too, because this place produces an amazing amount of stuff. And I have a lot more friends this year than I had last year. Because of things that I'm doing in one of my civics clubs and stuff. And so it's not going to go to waste. And it's actually fun, folks. You see something, you start from seed and you see the work, where you've tilled the soil and you've amended it and, with cow manure and all this stuff. And then the weight, and you just got to keep water on it. And it's just amazing to me how it's not that difficult. And I do have a process, and it's kind of tried and true for me now, at least for this area. I don't know if it'll work for every area, but the timing you have to adjust for your growing season. But I've got onions out there. I'm not kidding you. I got onions that big right now. A couple of weeks ago, I pulled out half the onions because they were growing into each other. That's one of the secrets. So I have half the onions already hanging out there. I think I took a couple pictures, and I harvested my garlic. Same thing. So in a few weeks, I think the end of June, I pulled the rest of my onions out, and I got room to put more stuff in the garden. But I'm like, God dang, I already have so much stuff coming out. It's ridiculous. I mean, in a few more weeks, I'm going to have tomatoes and green beans. I mean, my green beans are already grown to the top of the trellis, and I can't believe they just started growing. So the cucumbers will be coming out. I mean, all this stuff is just amazing. And you remember all of the eggplant that I had last year? I made tons of eggplant parmesan, so I'll be doing that again. I do have a regular big blender, but I've noticed that, like, if I have I don't know what this is. This might be a pint or it might be a quart of strawberries, but everything seems, when it minces it all up, it all fits in that bullet thing. So it works out perfect, and that makes 2 glasses. So it's 2 nice smoothies, and I don't know, they're 12-ounce or 20-ounce glasses or something. It's really good. Well, I think Linda, I think they also create these opportunities for wealth building for the uber rich. So they got to knock people down to create the opportunity, because people say, hey, I need some more properties. And so, they do things to the economy, and you gotta realize there's cycles. Like right now, I don't think I would buy real estate unless I found something totally distressed that I could work the numbers and try to do it. But it just seems like the prices have gone up. I mean, they've doubled since I got it. I mean, if I'm right, they may go up another 4 to 6 times. I don't know. But there's no guarantees in any of this. So I prefer to buy it when it's half price. Oh man, I saw that, Lawrence, about the $5 gas. California definitely is going to hit it. We're at $3 right now. $3, $3 for gas, and we had it. They had knocked the sales tax off of it for a couple of weeks when we had the pipeline burst, but I noticed it jumped up pretty quick. So it appears they put the sales tax back on there, and we're up to $3. Yeah, selling your rentals. You know what? I'm telling you, when the government decided to get involved, CDC, all that stuff, it really put a damper on my thought process about all this. The government's got no business. I mean, we obviously don't have capitalism anymore. It's amazing to me. So 262 in Texas, that's pretty good price. I don't think they have as high of state taxes though on the gasoline though. I don't know. I mean, we're at $3 right now, most of the place. I think I saw a place 285. It depends on where you look, but if you're over there by the interstate, they got it jacked up to $3. A lot of money. And we already talked for, at least I talked for 28 minutes and 47 seconds. I better drink some water. Trying to think about if I want to go get something to eat. I want to go to this. There's a seafood place that's over on the water. It's probably packed a Memorial Day weekend here, but I wanted to go hit that place. I got some fried catfish the other day, and it was nice. It was a small family restaurant, and we said, hey, we can't have gluten. Can you just do cornmeal and not flour? And they said, well, yeah, we can do that. And I said, okay, fantastic. And they brought them out. Unfortunately, they were like little bitty catfish like this, got 2 on a plate, but it was still good. I love fried catfish. $8.54 for a 1x6. That's unbelievable. Select 2x4x8s, $8. God, that is unbelievable. Wow, $3.25 a gallon for gas. Yeah, one of the gas stations I went to the other day, they still only had premium. Everything else was sold out. And I can't even remember what the premium was. Might have been 340, 350, something like that. And I said, nah, I'll just drive a little ways. Taking a chance, drove a little ways and found a gas station that had gas and got it, regular for like $3, I think it was. So it's still occasionally just not available around here. They're just still haven't got everybody filled up. Yeah, so my favorite, I talked about this before, my favorite wing house up here, they have this special, they call it a lunch bar. And you go in and they have a salad. And I mean, it's a pretty good sized salad like this, good sized salad. And, a lot of good stuff in there too. It's not just iceberg lettuce. And then you can get chips and it's homemade, the thick chips, or you can get the fries, which are more like the wedge fries. And then they have chicken wings, all you can eat, and celery. And I think when you add a drink or something, it might be $14, but it's all you can eat. And I never can eat, they usually bring you 12 the first time and they bring you like 4 or 6 the next time. But this last time we went in, they said, no, we only have 100 wings in the house and they're kind of taken up by to-go orders right now. So I'm like, what the hell? So they had some hamburger. I mean, they got other stuff on the menu, but they had a special where you can have a salad, a drink, and a hamburger or something for, $10. And so we said, all right, we'll do that this time. I didn't want to get up and go somewhere else, but I know another place that has baby back ribs that's a rack like this for $20. And I mean, they're full meat. It's not the trimmed thing. And I mean, for me, it's like 3 meals for that. And you get, 2 sides or something. I mean, it's unbelievable, that meal. So we're probably going to go there instead, do like 4 times the calories. But boy, I tell you, it's hard to beat those baby back ribs. You feel like an old man walking uphill backwards in the snow each day when he tells stories. That's who. Well, last week that restaurant told me they have to go get their chicken outside the state. For some reason, there is an extreme shortage, and I think it's just because people are not working. They're being paid to stay home. That's what they're saying, but I don't know. So, anyways, I got like 12 or 13 meat chickens that are, say, 3 weeks away from processing. And then I've got 25 more that are coming in 2 or 3 weeks. And that should fill my freezer back up, at least for the poultry. So I'm trying to, preach when I tell you guys, keep your freezers full. One of my friends, he always cooks chicken thighs on Memorial Day weekend. He went up there, he couldn't get any. So, I mean, there is problems in Kroger and everywhere else where you can't get the chicken. I just don't go to the store that much for meat because, I do it myself. Oh man, Edgewater, he's having supply problems for his water heaters, air conditioners, all that stuff. The droughts are really bad. I really want a well. That is the last thing on my prepping list. I have my own well, and it's going to have a pump that can be powered by my solar and batteries. A lot of the normal pumps, use a tremendous amount of power, but there is other ones that you can put in that'll, don't have as much of a surge current starting up and everything. And that's what I'm going to work with my solar guy to get put in. 34 minutes and 27 seconds. So we had 28 people and 7 thumbs up. Hopefully some of you caught the beginning where I talked about all the problems with the washer and dryers, and I think I got that all squared away. I wish I'd have done some video, but I I was trying to get laundry done. I couldn't get it done because the stupid things weren't working. So I just, did a little research, jumped in there, started working on it, and I didn't know if it was going to work. So I didn't really want to do a video until I knew it worked, and it did. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put some clips together of, what other people had done, or I'll take some of the manufacturer's drawings and put them in a video and show you step by step. But I've resolved both my washer and dryer problems. I mean, they're only 4 years old, but God, I don't remember these kind of issues when I was growing up with the other designs. These front end loaders are a little more finicky. Yeah, it's kind of funny that they don't have access to these things readily available. You used to be able to have like a little panel that you could pull off on the front and you can access the things you needed to instead of pulling it out. I think that is an asset. I don't want to use a bad word. It is a really dumb design that you have to pull these really heavy front end loader washing machines out to get behind it, take off like 12 screws, and just instead of just having something access on the front. That is really dumb. Yes, I agree. It is really poor engineering. Oh, Patriot Conference in Dallas. Hey, I just posted a video for members, and it's actually kind of a funny thing. I had a redneck wine tasting. So I'm not going to release that necessarily to the whole subject, but you saw me in a different light where I'm part of a wine club, and I got 6 of these high-end wines in the mail, and I was at a racing thing over in Birmingham, so I brought those along for some of our friends, and we sat down late in the evening and decided to make a video about the wine tasting. And I thought it was absolutely hilarious when you watch it. But we had already done like going through the bottles once, and I said, hey, we need to record this. And so I got a little tipsy actually. I don't drink much, but man, when you're sampling like 6 wines twice, that's a lot of wine. So if you're a member, that's special content for you. You'll love it. And I'll just tell you one thing. There was this one guy, he thought one of the wines tasted like Parquet. And I don't know if any of you are old enough to realize, but that was like one of the first, fake butters that are out there. And it was, like Country Crock or Can't Believe It's Not Butter or anything like that. And I was just like, I don't know where he got the taste from, but we had 5 other tasters there, and they're like, we don't know what he's talking about, but he thinks it tastes like Parquet butter. It was funny as heck. We had another guy impersonating somebody from Bulgaria doing the wine tasting and everything. He was hilarious. So anyways, it was kind of funny. Yeah, the recency bias thing is a major problem. Major problem. Lawrence, I've been drinking these high altitude wine, and I can't think of what the name of it is. They don't use any of the Roundup or anything like that, and it's from Argentina. It's super good. I like the red wines. I mean, I'll drink white wines too, but the red wines are better for you, so that's what I like. It's funny after you see what's happened over to, even in Texas where, everybody like froze to death. I mean, surely people are thinking differently now. Are they just not paying attention? And then we had this pipeline, break, and, you couldn't go anywhere for a couple of weeks while because there's no fuel. And then, you had the COVID stuff, and it's just kind of strange that they're not seeing that the frequency, the way these things are happening faster and faster and faster, and a larger and larger impacts. I mean, we used to have localized type things. Now you have like a whole state getting knocked out. Then you had the pipeline that took out 11 states. It's like COVID took out like the whole country, and they were trying to make it like it took out the whole world, but they shut everything down. Don't you see? This is just them tightening that screw, tightening it down, tightening it down. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm hoping people will wake up, because you've got to wake up. You got to realize. Yeah, if you remember at the beginning of the COVID, I told everybody, I said, look, you're about ready to have all of these Procter & Gamble, the paper goods, all this stuff. You need to go and get it now. Now, I've always kept a really nice inventory, but I keep it topped off. So when things happen, I just need like one more thing to replace what I've been using, and I'm just in good shape. The only thing I really need to do now is I got to start rotating my stock, even the paper goods and stuff. I got to take the stuff on the bottom, put it on the top, that kind of thing. That's something that's important. Yeah, smash the like button. We're up to 13 likes and 14. Thank you, Corolla. Now, the other thing is, please pass the word that the numbers are like way down. And people are telling me that they just thought I went away because they hadn't seen any of my stuff in like a year. And I think what happens is occasionally YouTube, you need to go in and unsubscribe and resubscribe and hit the bell, because they do stuff to kind of like depress certain channels in place of other ones. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. So if you're not getting regular notifications or whatever, then you probably need to like unsubscribe, resubscribe, and hit the bell. The bell is probably the most important thing, so that you see everything. And then if you really like the content, make sure you hit the become a member, the gold or platinum member. And like I said, I'm releasing special content to them anyways. And usually you get more detailed charts and stuff. And I'm going to, now that things are taking off, I'll start getting in there and doing more of the charts and show what the miners and everything do and talk about the portfolios themselves and the individual stocks. Oh man, Alaskan king crab. You know what I'm really missing? I used to get blue crab and mullet. I used to smoke my own mullet and everything in Florida. I need to get some because I really miss that. My favorite way to do mullet is, you kind of butterfly it so it just lays flat, and then I put seasoned salt on it and I stick it in the smoker, but I do like 13 of them. I have a big old smoker, do 13 at a time. Holy crap, those things were good. I need to get a mullet source locally here, or when I take my trip down to Florida, bring a big cooler and just bring them back with me. Yeah, so I try to help you guys by monitoring all of this stuff and telling you well in advance before everybody else, before we get lines strung all the way up around the stores and everything, so that you stay ahead. Oh, short ribs, I love those too. I've been eating a lot of sweet potatoes lately. I like the sweet potatoes. You don't get the same carbs and everything. Wow, 26 bucks, and now it's 32 bucks. Tell you, I've seen it in the roofing supplies and everything else. The prices are through the roof. It can get worse though. It can get way worse before it gets better. So you like this time slot? I'm doing a little bit earlier tonight. Like I said, I feel kind of tired. I'm probably going to crash tonight. It's 8 o'clock. I don't know if I want to go out to eat. I probably should. Maybe better to go hit lunch somewhere tomorrow. Yeah, so what do you think people are going to do when food takes 40% of their income? I mean, in the United States, food has been a fairly small percentage of your income when you think about your rent or your mortgage or insurance and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be catastrophic. And so what I'm trying to suggest to you is a little bit of effort. If it's a little bit of effort, grow your own garden. And I mean, this is what they used to do they used to call them victory gardens. I wasn't around at that time, but they used to call them victory gardens. Everybody had a garden in the yard to supplement. So because the things were so expensive during the wars. So that's something and I've showed you on my videos, and maybe I need to bring them up again to refresh your memories. I find these things where there's these packets that I was getting that I'll use those packets for like 2 years, and there's like 30 or 40 different types of seeds of everything that you can think of. And, and again, I put a green, I mean, I put infrastructure in my place so that I can, survive. So the greenhouse kind of shortens, or actually it allows me to get a head start on the season. That's really the best thing. And when you look at what it buy the plants at these big box stores, it's astronomical. Where for where you spend say $3 or $4 for a tomato plant, I mean, I can grow probably 20 tomato plants for $3 or $4. And I always grow extra, and I try to give them my friends, and they're like, "We don't have a garden." It's like, well, why not? I mean, go friggin' put a couple 2x4s together, throw some potting soil in there, and you got a garden, right? Even if you just did cow manure, everything grows in cow manure. Yeah, exactly. If you can grow weed and tomato, it's the same as tomatoes, no doubt. I can't wait to show you the tomatoes this year. They're really looking good. And most of what I grow is heirloom. I do like the non-heirloom tomatoes because they don't grow like 20 feet tall and stuff. I don't really have a setup for that. But if I set up some wire on like a loop, you could actually have it grow over the top. Because I mean, these people don't understand the heirloom tomatoes. They just keep growing. They're like a big tendril thing that goes all the way over. I should probably try to grow them along that. I keep saying I'm gonna do that each year, and I haven't done it yet. But you can have it grow from like one bed to the other where it drapes over, and then it hangs down through the mesh, and you just pick them off that way. "46 minutes." Yeah, Burgermeister, I see what you wrote there, but because it's got a bad word in it, it's not going to let it through. And if I allow those to be shown, then what happens is I end up not getting monetized on these things. Samsung, well, Samsung actually, when I was off looking at these washer dryers 4 years ago, Samsung was getting a really bad reputation. And I actually, had good luck with Samsung in the past, and I avoided them because of the problems they were having. And so I went with the Whirlpool and the Duet, and I don't think they were any cheaper or more expensive than anything else. But to tell you the truth, this actually wasn't difficult. It just was like no information anywhere except for on YouTube. So YouTube saved me time. In where I live, we don't really have any repair guys locally here, so you're kind of on your own. Oh, I did forgot to tell you this too. I forget on the washer dryer, I had two problems. On these front end loaders, there's this tray that you pull out and you pour your liquid detergent in. It's a HE, and then you have another one for the softener and another one for the bleach. Well, what was happening is I noticed that the softener wasn't really being used, and then I also noticed that neither was the detergent. And the things like weren't rinsing out completely and all this kind of stuff. So I took it out and I cleaned those trays up. I did that like 2 times. That wasn't doing anything. So I went ahead and looked in the hole, and all of a sudden I realized, oh man, it was like all molded up in there. And again, this was something I should have done a video, but I have one of these. I have all these different kinds of brushes you get at Harbor Freight, but it was like a toothbrush, but it had a little bit longer handle. So I was in there, I was like, scraping all the mold off, and then I took a spray bottle with some bleach water and I sprayed that all in there. And then I noticed that on that tray, when it goes in, there's a poker that fits in it, and in the top of the poker there's a hole because on the tray there's this plunger that the poker goes into. Well, I figured that hole must have been plugged, so it was just small enough to where I could take a zip tie. And I mean, this is hard. You're reaching way down in there trying to get the zip tie down in the hole, and then you like use it as a reamer, put everything back together again. I mean, the thing doesn't have any of the mold in there. All the water's going through now. All the stuff's being used. So that was the second thing that I solved. I should have put that at the beginning of this video. But anyways, that was, I might, like I said, I'll come back and put it all together in a separate video. But these things are 4 years old and just having little problems creeping up. And it's a little frustrating things till you finally just sit down and say, okay, I got to figure out what's going on. But these are all things anybody could do, really not difficult. And you're going to save yourself. I mean, I don't know, the washer and dryers are $400. You don't want to spend $150 for somebody to come out and do 15 minutes of work. That's probably about all I spent total on just the washing machine. And then the dryer, I probably spent maybe an hour or two on that, but we had a hospital visit and everything else involved in that. So add another 4 hours on that. So anyways, it was a lot. Yes, I'm still an engineer at heart. I love trying to figure, the problem with a lot of this stuff, it's obviously not hard. It's not hard. It's just you got to sit down and think about the problems. And, for like that washing machine, I had to get down on my hands and knees, look in the thing with a flashlight and go, oh, yeah, there's another problem here. It's not in this tray thing. And by the way, I had two washers and dryers the same because I have them downstairs and upstairs. So I had swapped parts to try to get it to work too. And that wasn't working. So I knew it was something else. And that's what forced me to look inside. So anyways, that's the way you do it. I had fixed my ice maker too. All of a sudden, the stupid thing wasn't crushing ice anymore. And it wasn't dropping the ice cubes down. So the little rotating mechanism thing wasn't working. So again, I had one downstairs, so I brought it up and that was working. It turned out it was just the tray itself. I don't know what was wrong with it, but I called this parts place and they got another one that probably was $100. So, I mean, everything here is 4 years old and I'm getting some wear and tear. That's about it. So yeah, I've been working on things. My dad taught me when I was really young to not be afraid to figure things out. So I've working in the industry that I did. I mean, I have very significant understanding of all the way down to electrical, mechanical, materials, and everything. So that helps a lot. But I also understand how things are manufactured. So, Lawrence, I was looking at this silver shortage. We're still really only talking about the manufactured silver. So, I want to make sure people understand because this aggravates people when they think that when they don't see the eagles and stuff being stocked, and you see the mint slowing down or whatever. You got to remember there's two different types of silver. The bulk of the silver that's used in industry and everything is bars, the big, is it 1,000 ounce bars? I think it's 1,000 ounce. They call it good delivery bars. And I mean, those things are like a loaf of bread, except for what is 1,000 ounces? Maybe 80 pounds or something off the top of my head. So you have those. That's what everybody's using. And by the way, that's what's actually in the ETFs. That's what they're storing. They're not storing eagles and buffalo. Well, buffaloes are the gold. They're not storing rounds or anything. It's those good delivery bars. That's what's actually for the ETFs and everything else. So that's another reason why there isn't this premium difference in everything, because the good delivery bars are just a poured thing. There isn't any. I mean, they do weigh it. They call it assay it, and they stamp it for the weight. But it's each one of these eagles that you buy, those have significant quality controls, and they have to come in with what do they call it? Is it planchettes or something? The blanks that come in, and they're having a shortage of getting those blanks in. And then the mint, then stamps them, goes through their quality control, and then it goes to certain dealers to sell. It's those manufactured things that they're having shortages on. So I haven't seen that the other industrial stuff, there's shortages, but I'm sure. And by the way, I mean, you can go get those good delivery bars for just a much smaller markup instead of 30-40% or whatever the eagles are going right now. I think it'll be something that, I mean, if you're out trying to buy big dollar amounts, it's probably smart to if you go get the large good delivery bars. But remember, those have reporting requirements compared to the eagles. There's no reporting requirements for buying or selling the U.S. Mint stuff. All right, let me read some comments here. You bought a $200 spark modulator for, I think you're trying to say stovetop not lighting. Wife cleaned well, and lo behold, that sucker's working. There you go. Silver always does a pullback at the end of June through first week of July. Okay. I'll have to look at that. The awareness as well as demand for metals will increase as the Basel III is implemented. Yeah, the Basel III has been implemented in phases, so this is just another thing that's being implemented for banking rules. So we'll see. It's definitely not hurting. I did read an article just before this. Probably can't find it real quick, but something about Russia is off procuring more gold again, significantly more. They've changed some rules or something to allow them to get to more gold. So it's always good to see the big countries securing significant metals. That helps. But remember, again, they're not buying eagles or anything. They're buying good delivery bars of gold, which are probably 1,000 ounces too. 1,000 ounces. Yeah, that'd be a lot of freaking money. Yeah, I know they're about ready. I think they're pretty much immune of the SWIFT system now too. I think you're right, Lawrence. That's the system that our U.S. government uses to kick people off, kind of blackmail them to go the direction they want for international trade, currency movement, and everything. And a lot of countries are ticked off, and they've done workarounds now. So I don't think we have as much of a way to do it, except for our military. All right, we're at 56 minutes, 31 people on. We talked a lot about appliances, but the appliances kind of consumed me over the last week. Oh, they're giving away a 1,000-ounce bar? Wow. Got to make a purchase before May 31st. Wow, that would be a fantastic giveaway. I'll have to go see if they have anything that I would like to have. It's a lot of money buying metals right now. Sure wish I bought a lot more platinum. Yeah, I know that this China's really flexing their muscles. Did you see that they're probably going to have a ship right off of our coast now, just like we have our ships off of their coast? They're trying to make a point. You got to have supply chains, everything out there. Well, folks, what do you think? I think we should wrap it up. It's 57 minutes and 48 seconds now. So I hope everybody's treating you well. I hope you're doing well. Do the best you can. God bless.